Blind loyalty to a candidate and or a party is easy, and it's damaging our politics. Jim Garrity yesterday at National Review kind of encapsulated all the recent Trump heresies and betrayals of his conservative base. And of course, they can't be betrayed anymore because they've totally swilled the Kool-Aid. But it is dangerous, very dangerous for what's left of our political culture. Now, update your scorecards, ladies and gentlemen. The Republican nominee for president supports using unemployment insurance payments from employers to fund 6 weeks of paid leave for new mothers, while the Democrat nominee is declaring, when America fails to lead, we leave a vacuum that either causes chaos or other countries or networks to rush in to fill the void. So no matter how hard it gets, no matter how great the challenge, America must lead. Donald Trump is sounding like John Kerry and, well, Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton is sounding like George W. Bush, which she last did circa 2003. Yet few partisans are complaining loudly that their nominee has adopted positions that they once claimed to consider anathema. In 2003, longtime Clinton toad Sidney Blumenthal released his memoir of Bill Clinton's White House entitled The Clinton Wars. One reviewer began his assessment of the book by asserting that Blumenthal is a man of profound, intense, deeply devoted religious faith. Yeah, he worships the Grand Clinton phallus, I guess. And the core of that faith is that everything that is good in the world comes from the Democrat Party. But over the years, we've seen more and more Americans adopting that faith or its mirror image, which should not exist. The idea that all good comes from the Republican Party rather than the principles it used to stand for. It's not a formal religion, but partisan devotion so deeply affects its adherents' thinking, morality, actions, and reactions to world events that it might as well be a religion, a pagan one indeed. Rather than principles, there's a difference. The party is the vehicle, but it's supposed to be the vehicle for the principles for which it supposedly stands. And that's gone completely away. Far more in the GOP than in the Democrat Party, which still stands for left-wing extremism. And each passing political cycle makes it a little clearer that partisan faith, tribalism, if you will, has nothing to do with policies and issues. Oh, God, is that? Well, actually, it's not that partisan faith has nothing to do with policies and issues. That's only true in the Republican Party now, because both parties are parties of the left. That's why Trump mania was a hostile takeover, ladies and gentlemen, of the GOP. This is what made a Democrat primary debate audience applaud Barack Obama's attack on the individual mandate in February of 2008, and then turn around and applaud his enactment of an individual mandate 2 years later. It's what made few, if any, Democrats complain when Obama declared in a church to a pastor that he believed marriage was between a man and a woman, and those same Democrats applaud when Obama endorsed pseudo marriage 4 years later. This is what made Sean Hannity welcome Julian Assange onto a recent episode of his Trump Flack show, 6 years after he accused that same WikiLeaks provocateur of waging war against the United States. That's what made people who defended Bush's NSA programs lash into Obama's and vice versa. This is what drives the ludicrous double standards and hypocrisy we see in most of our public political debates anymore. We need to get money out of politics because of the Koch brothers, but Tom Steyer's big spending environmental advocacy campaigns and union-funded attack ads are righteous. Obama declared it was unpatriotic for George W. Bush to run up the debt to $4 trillion or buy $4 trillion in 8 years, but understandable that he ran it up the debt by $9 trillion during his own presidency. This is what drives the media's two-faced treatment of politics. Eventually, every question becomes viewed through the lens of what answer offers the most partisan advantage in the current moment. Take the question, how old is too old to be president? Back in 1996, Time magazine was not subtle, asking, is Dole too old to be president? You're old. You have multiple chins. On its cover. Nor were most voices in the media subtle about the suggestion that John McCain was too old in 2008. The Wall Street Journal headline from April of that year asked, is McCain too old? A Slate headline from that June asked, how might the senator's mind deteriorate over the next 8 years? A McClatchy headline from that August reported that some wonder if McCain's too old and wrinkly to be president. Just imagine the words old and wrinkly in a headline about Hillary Clinton this year. Or Donald Trump, for that matter. You can't. Because this year, we're told by Daily Beast columnists Eleanor Clift and Michael Tomasky that any questions about Hillary Clinton's health or fitness constitute ageism. McCain and Dole were 72 when they ran for president. Hillary Clinton will be 69 on Election Day, and Donald Trump is already 70. Ultimately, what far too many people in politics believe is that the other party is just the bad guys, the embodiment of all flaws of human nature and every kind of sin, to be defeated at all costs. Period. The exact same traits are interpreted completely differently based upon partisan affiliation, which begs the question of why are there two parties in the first place if they're both basically the same and stand for the same things. Leftism. The other side is greedy, selfish, miserly. My side is thrifty and determined to avoid waste. Their side is dumb and can't understand details. My side is focused on the big picture and doesn't get bogged down in the weeds. The other side is a bunch of warmongers. My side won't compromise on protecting innocent lives. The other side is a bunch of simple-minded, jingoistic nationalists. My side is a steel-spined band of patriots. Their side is a freak show, the worst of humanity, a basket of deplorables. My side has passionate grassroots with lovable eccentricities. Their side is incompetent. My side makes innocent, harmless mistakes. This is a really, really, really stupid way to look at the world, Trumplicans. Human virtue does not line up by party. Each side is big enough to include some jerks, loons, maniacs, idiots, insufferable know-it-alls, pathological liars, toxic personalities, and assholes. To think otherwise, you have to spend a lot of time ignoring the counter-evidence while making your life a festival of confirmation bias. If a person's true answer to every question is whatever benefits my party the most, even if it contradicts what I said last cycle or last year or yesterday, the conversation grows stale very quickly. In this light, it's hard to blame voters for disengaging themselves from politics. If the passionate partisans don't take their positions all that seriously, why should anybody else?